final preparations. So we've got to create some directories here, and we've come to a point where we've got to do something slightly different from the book because we're on a different architecture. Now the book, as it says in one of the early chapters, is only been designed really to run on Intel 32 or 64-bit. So what we've got to do, I mean, I could add these commands in manually, but I'll just type in the changes into the scripts that they've provided to change the functionality, and we can see them working. So basically this is going to be the same, so it doesn't matter whether it's Intel 64-bit or ARM architecture 64-bit. It's the same procedure. lib64 directory needs to be created. So hopefully we should see an output from that. Yep, there it is. It's created the directory. So there's going to be a few occasions, and I guess it's a testament to not only the tool chain but also to the LFS book that the changes that are required are fairly minor, really. There's nothing complicated at all to allow Linux for Scratch to be compiled on the ARM processor. Yeah, it actually says here the LFS editors have deliberately decided not to use a user lib64 directory. Several steps are taken to ensure or to be sure the toolchain will not use it. If for any reason this directory appears, either because you made an error in the following instructions or because you installed a binary package that created it after finishing LFS, it may break your system. You should always be sure this directory does not exist. So that's something to bear in mind. So let's create the LFS user and password for that user. And again, the second time we need to do this now. We've got basically anywhere where there's a x86-64 entry, we need to do something different and change that to cater for the ARM architecture and not the Intel architecture, because some things the naming is different. In this case, all we're doing is changing the ownership of that directory we just created. So I'll just copy this in again. As I said, I could just put in chown -v LFS lib64 and that'll be done, but I thought I'd just put the code in as it would appear, assuming the book did support ARM architecture. I'm just putting the code that would allow it to select the appropriate code to run depending on the architecture. So arch64, and as I say, it's just the same command. It just needs to change the ownership of that directory we created to LFS, and as you can see, it's run. It wouldn't run if that wasn't there. If I rerun that, it will produce no output because this is not an x86-64 architecture. So become the LFS user and move on to create the environment. Now I'm actually going to change some extra settings here. These are probably not that necessary at this stage, but it'll certainly be more important to set them for the final chapter, chapter 8. I'm going to add some C flags. Let's do that again. I messed that up. Oh, let me just edit it, it'll be easier. Now I did do some testing without these settings, but I've read quite a lot on the internet that the settings I'm going to use are probably a good idea to use, and there may be additional alternative settings, but I found that the build was quite successful with these. So first I'm going to set is C flags. And I'm going to set that to March equals ARM v8.2-A plus crypto. This turns on some cryptographic functions, and I can't remember what the CRC stands for now. It turns on some other functionality. Minus mCPU equals Cortex -A76, and that must use the same settings as the architecture settings. So we've got to put in crypto plus CRC for that, and then mtune to tune it to the A76. Now, one thing I did read was that I think it was in the GCC documentation that it actually stated that by setting MCPU, not MPCU, right, let me come out of this film. It's got basic settings on there. I think the tiny version of Vim's set up on these Debian type distributions, and it's a bit annoying to use sometimes. Right, it's better we've actually got highlighting as well. Yeah, so the CPU setting actually configures March and mtune, I believe, as well, and it suggested it was probably preferred rather than just relying on Arch and Tune. So I thought I'd set it as well as Arch and Tune, so it's set for certain then. CXX flags can be set to the same as C flags. And that should be it for the well, optimization, I guess. But some of these things, apparently it turns on some SIMD acceleration functions, which if I do the BLFS would be advantageous for things like writing to the screen and so on. So it's probably beneficial to use these. These aren't settings that are an attempt to improve the performance of the CPU as such. It's more about eking as much out of the CPU as possible. So let's save that. And I think we do definitely need to use this. I'm pretty sure it does do a rename there. So yes, oh yeah, it's got to be done as the root. So let's come back out, rerun that. As you can see, it's renamed that, so that's definitely important to do. Okay, let's go back in as root, and we can add this make flags as well to the profile, and then source bash profile. And if we look at make files to start off with, that's been set. C flags has been set. Hopefully, yep. So I'll just check that I've typed that all in correctly. Yep. And then that means CXX flags will have been set. So any package that uses GCC and make will get optimized like that using those features.